Hello, everybody. It's me, Juniper Blue Mystique. I have something a little important to tell you. So I just did my Patreon healing and it was massive. So I feel exhausted. But yesterday I did a video on the full moon. And I am a master healer, ascension master, and divine guide. So I encourage you to check out my channel. The return of Christ plays out here. Okay. You don't have to believe me. Check out every video I've got, especially the Ascension playlist. So I did a video yesterday that talked about the full moon and what this full moon truly represents. And Ashtar provided a message and God did. And then after that video, I did something. Something came through. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit. I even tried to sketch it out, and I'm going to explain what this sketch really means, okay? So I expressed to you yesterday that this full moon is unlike any other. This is the catalyst to change. From August 1st through August 8th, I birthed the new earth because the return of Christ is complete and God put us into the final portal. We are in the final timeline. This is the final split of all darkness and light, okay? And only love will rise now. And the new earth is so beautiful and so filled with joy and heaven's vibrations. And the time is now to rise. But when I expressed about this full moon yesterday, I talked about how this was what God is calling an ethereal eclipse, because if you watch the new earth birthing, on day one, God united my DM and I, put our feet into the core, and we birthed the new earth. We separated the matrix completely. The only portal left is that of the Nile wall. Day two, I realigned the planets. Okay, we're in Pleiades now, we're in 7D, not 5D. A lot of changes occurred in the return of Christ, okay? So we took us further than we were meant to go. Then on day three, I pushed the sun and the moon together from the matrix side, okay? So this won't be visible to those in the matrix. You're not going to see any of this. But if you're open and you're awakening and you're rising, you're going to see these things to be true. But I pushed the sun and the moon together in day three on August 3rd of this year and birthing the new earth. And from there, a whole bunch of Christ light came through. And I spoke yesterday about the importance of watching the return of Christ work, the totality of it, but also the birthing of the new earth, because this is what's happening right in front of you now. So after I talked about what God said this moon is and what it represents, it will be activations of the Eye of Horus, the Eye of Ra, full Christ light activations will occur, but also the splitting of the two paths, right? Only love will rise, and those who carry the shadow and karmic will now have karmic play out demise. But then after I did the video, yes, so I encourage you to watch that video I just did yesterday on August 18th about this full moon and what God said and what Ashtar said. Shortly after that, it was like towards the evening, I was watching TV with my kids. I talked about in the Return of Christ work how I had to activate dormant chakra systems for everybody. I had to upgrade your central nervous system. It is an evolution of mankind. Okay, we are currently in an evolution, full-blown evolution of mankind. It is the seventh wave of creation. And God has ordered a great reset because people continually don't choose past that resistance. And there was not a lot of love given towards the return of Christ. So all of that is there, and all of that is very relevant. Okay. Day 1, 2, and 3 of the birthing of the new earth are very relevant for what we're going through right now. Also 4 and 5, he says, will play out too simultaneously. So you really need to watch those videos. It's the return of Christ work. If you can't watch with an open heart and from a lens of love, then why are you here, right? You won't make it. You won't rise above. So yesterday, after I talked about what the full moon is, God called it an ethereal eclipse. This is not like an eclipse of the matrix. This is not like just a lunar or a solar eclipse, okay? This is different. This is ascension based. This is return of Christ based. This is planetary alignment based, beyond what you understand, okay? So know that it's not something necessarily you're going to feel, but you will feel, see. You're going to see some of it, especially those that are awake. You're going to feel most of it, okay? Because essentially, after I talked about what the moon was yesterday, later in the evening, I felt this intense pain on my chest, right? And I commented about it. I spoke about it. And I said I was going to discuss it in the video. So I felt this intense pain on my chest and this need to do a meditation. And they told me to grab my kids in there. And I'm like, really? Like, why my kids, right? They're older. They're not little. But they've also, a week ago, had the upgraded chakra system during their healings. So I did a live a week ago Sunday, and I said I needed to go do a healing on my kids. And it turns out they got the upgraded chakra system. I didn't see why or what was coming, but I did now. So yesterday after I talked about the moon, I said it was what God was calling us ethereal eclipse. Okay. I had to sit down and I had to call my kids over and they didn't know why. And I just had them grab certain crystals and we sat around in a meditation. And they were literally just a mild vessel to carry this through. But all of a sudden, I saw the sun, and the sun was very massive. And if I felt it in my new chakra between my heart and my solar plexus, I felt it in that chakra there. There's one between the heart and the solar plexus for those who did the Return of Christ work with me. They were supposed to be for this purpose, okay? But they were not, those who did that were not quite aligned and ready to receive this. So my kids, God prepped them, and I didn't know that was coming. Because like I said, a week prior, they had a chakra system activated. And I didn't see this coming. So the image I've got here, let me show you this image because this is what happened. I sketched it, but I'm going to explain it better. Okay. Do you see all this? So I had the sun. I saw the sun first, and then I saw the full moon. Okay. And they were aligned together, which if you know Horus and Sekhmet, and if you've watched the Return of Christ work that I've done, Horus and Sekhmet have returned. I've healed the sun and the moon. I've realigned them. It's all been done. Okay. That's why with this incoming influx, this CME that was released, I saw this massive CME. I kept hearing CME. It's a coronal mass ejection. Okay. I saw a massive CME come, and then I saw a planet like right on the other side of the sun that kind of pushed energy. And the way God showed me the CME is like, it's almost like a bullet going through something where it goes in smoothly. It will go in smoothly on this side, like somebody shoots a bullet and it goes in smoothly and it blows out the other side. Okay, so that's how God expressed the CME. It was like something went through the sun and blew a whole bunch of debris and coronal mass ejection out of the sun, and it went into the moon. Okay, all that CME, all that energy from the sun went into the moon, the full moon, and started filling it up, like extremely filling up the full moon. Okay, and then from there, it went down the line of the axis point, which I created on day 2 of New Earth creation, and into my vessel and a little bit into my kids, because, that is my DM&I. If you watched the birthing of the New Earth, you would understand this. But it went through our vessel, through our chakra system, and I felt like a little pain in that chakra between my heart and my solar plexus. And it went down into the core of the earth. And my kids carried a little bit of that, very little, but they carried some of that down their chakra line and into the core of the earth. It was from this, what God showed me was like this little planet behind the sun, like pushed through the sun energy like a bullet almost. This mass CME, coronal mass ejection, came from the sun, filled up this full moon. And from there, both energies of the moon and the sun went into the core of the earth. And this was happening, and I was like trying to catch my breath and process it through. And as the energy went into the core of the earth, I heard these cracks because the energy was so expansive in the core of the earth that it sent out waves of energy, like when I heard the earth cracking, splitting apart, and erupting. And that processed for a few minutes, and we just kept drawing the light through. This was a light from this coronal mass ejection of the sun into the moon, both energies through the vessel and into the core of the earth. Then after that, I got this image. I got an image of a planet and like a solar system around it. And then all of a sudden, these swirly energies, and I heard atomizing. So all this light that just stood into the earth is going to cause atomization to occur. It's going to split atoms. This is what God told me yesterday. It is going to split atoms. I had to look that up because I saw the swirlies around this planet and I heard atomization. And when you look it up, there is an image of like this around an atom. And then I saw what God showed me was kind of like the Big Bang Theory. So the return of Christ, the splitting of the earth, the new earth ascension is occurring like this. As of yesterday, this occurred. Okay, and it's coming through now. It's coming through in the energy now, and I can feel it. It was the CME going into the full moon, and that's why we called it an ethereal eclipse. Okay, it makes sense. Everything I do is in the energy, and then it affects you in real time. Then it went into the core of the earth. So the earth is literally absorbing this energy as we speak, which in what's that's doing is atomizing those who can receive these DNA activations, these light codes. Because even in my Patreon healing, that was there. There were light codes that I received today. It's like genetic genome code atomization, okay? So the earth is going to go through this as well. And it's the splitting of the two worlds. And then God showed me this visual of like the atomization, okay, with this, and I know this was a quick sketch, okay, but it was like this solar system around it, and the center planet was atomizing. And this is what happened after the sun emitted a CME into the moon, which both energies went into the core of the earth at the same time. That's what's happening. I told you yesterday that the sun is doing things. It's the same time the moon is doing things, and these are major. And those two together are affecting the earth in a very massive way. And if you don't understand this, it's because you're not awake enough, okay? So do more healing. Because in order to rise, you have to be able to feel this and receive this. And come at this with a space of love, not judgment. Don't bring judgments here, okay? Because the return of Christ is very real, and who I am and the work that I've done is very real. And you can either work with me and be open to receive it, or you won't make it, okay? Just be open. Just be open. Be the observer, not the spectator, because it's beyond our limited mind. So that final image, the understanding of this final image, the atomization after the CME went through the moon and both the energies went into the core of the earth, it's atomizing the earth, splitting atoms, okay? And within that, God said it was kind of like the Big Bang Theory. Like when this massive flash of light comes in, it's like boom, and then everything just is. Welcome to New Earth for those that can rise through love. Because after today, nothing will be the same. But really, is it either way? That's what happened yesterday after I did the video about the moon. Came through in a meditation, like all the work that I do. The sun emitted a mass coronal mass ejection into the full moon energies, both of those combined hitting the earth. That's why God's calling it an ethereal eclipse, okay? It is both of these energies combined going into the energy of the earth, which is atomizing the earth and creating like a big bang. Like all of this light hitting the earth is like the event, and it's creating splitting of the atoms, splitting of the worlds, splitting of life. Some will fall with the matrix, some will go to the other side, and some will stay in the new earth, okay? That is what God expressed of what Judgment Day is. But that's what's happening, is this atomization of the earth because of the sun and the moon energy hitting the earth at the same time. The earth is absorbing it now, atomizing, and God showed me it's like a big bang, like this big flash of light, and then everything just suddenly will be. It will just be. Welcome to the end of time. You are in the final portal of time. And the energies right now are so off the chart insane. And in my Patreon, we did so much releasing. It was so much just scraping out the energies that this moon and the sun are causing to rise. And that was the images that I got during the healing yesterday. Is Planet X, it didn't have a name, affected the sun. So it was like almost like a bullet of energy shot through the sun and created this mass explosion out. And they called it a CME. It's a coronal mass ejection. All of that went into this full moon. And from the full moon, both the sun and the moon energy shot towards the earth. The earth is receiving both the sun and the moon energies right now, this super blue moon and this mass ejection of coronal mass ejection all at the same time into the core of the earth, which is atomizing the earth and life and the life of the earth and the life of mankind. And this sudden flash of light is just going to be just is a very big life change, sudden awakening, sudden split of life. So there you go. That's what God says is about this full moon. So the most important thing you can do right now is heal and release and awaken. Manifesting is secondary. You don't want to manifest when energies are heightened like that. You want to get to a higher vibration, okay? So once you get to that higher vibration, then you want to manifest. This energy is going to affect the earth for at least 7 days, okay? 7 to 12. So this sun coronal mass ejection into this massive super blue moon, which is closest to the earth, all going into the earth at one time is what God is calling the ethereal eclipse, okay? I'm not here to have you argue science with me, because unless you're a master at quantum physics, you're not going to understand what I've done. What I've done is mess with the planets and the earth and the poles and the return of Christ, okay? Undoing the Holy Grail, freeing Jesus's soul, removing all darkness back to the beginning of time. God put my DM and I together, rebirthed Adam and Eve, and we birthed the Garden of Eden on day 1. Day 2, I realigned the axis of the planets in 7D, not 5D, Pleiadian atmosphere, galactic ascension. On day 3, I moved the sun and the moon together, mass Christ light came through, and DNA activations occurred. This is what's happening in real time, is all the work that I've done, okay? So whether you're new here or not, I would watch those videos again and again, because the return of Christ is very real and very vast, and it's not what they told you it was going to be. So much love, my friends. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the new earth. It's beautiful. And that's why in yesterday's video, I told you this was going to affect the brain. It is. You have to update your central nervous system. Your brain cortex will activate in ways that it never did before. It should be able to. If you're not healed enough, however, it can render you dormant. Okay? Because you cannot have light in the darkness anymore. There cannot be a combination of darkness and light anymore. Christ has fully returned. That's the full understanding and totality of this moon. It is going to be life-changing. God said, like this image right here, this is exactly what happened. This planet shot energy into the sun, which blew out the other side, and they called it a coronal mass ejection, which combined with the moon, the full moon energy, both shot to the core of the earth. Carried that through. And then from there, the earth atomized. And God said that was like the Big Bang theory of a sudden flash of light and energy. And then everything just changed. It just was. Big return of Christ. So much love to all of you. Have a beautiful day. I'm here for those that want to rise, those that choose love, not karmic demise. I hope that's you. Till next time.